Today we're making chicken paprikash. This is an amazing recipe. Here are all the ingredients. Let's get into it right now. Chicken paprikash. This is a great recipe. I have to admit it's one of the dishes that I never had the experience of having in the past, and it's a great one. I love this. So I'm gonna try to make this one very close to an authentic paprikash. I'm just gonna show you all the ingredients here. It's chicken, so we have 2 pounds of legs and 2 pounds of thighs. I think I have a little bit more thighs here than legs, but any mix of thighs and legs is perfect instead of using a whole chicken. If you do use a whole chicken, I would suggest after your sear, you hold back on braising those breasts because they'll be like cardboard. You could put them in at the end, but by using just dark meat, it's just way better. It's way better for really any of these type of chicken dishes. We have a lot of onion in here, so I took 2 large yellow onions and I diced them up. 5 cloves of garlic minced. I have 1 cup of sour cream that's gonna go into our paprikash at the end to finish it up. Also 2 tablespoons of flour that gets mixed into the sour cream. We're gonna temper it so we don't break our sauce. Little parsley to finish. I have 1/2 cup of white wine. I have 2 cups of homemade chicken stock. You can use better than bouillon. Also, make sure you use low sodium. And Jim, you didn't mention the most important ingredient in the dish, which is, Tara, what?
3 different types of paprika.
Now I'm using 3 different types. A lot of recipes will just use 1 type. So when I made the Hungarian goulash that was a few weeks ago, got a lot of comments on that video, and a lot of people were saying that the paprika I used wasn't the best. It was a Hungarian paprika, but this one is better. This one I bought from Amazon. I just have tape on it. I was actually keeping this in my fridge because for my research, you're supposed to keep this in your refrigerator to have ultimate potency and no degradation. But I think if you keep it in your spice cabinet, relatively cool and dark, it's fine. It was expensive on Amazon. I think it was like $16 for this. So, but this is gonna, you'll be able to make like 30 meals out of this. So that's what I have for the sweet. I also bought a hot or a spicy paprika. Hungarian also was another brand, and it was also a little pricey. It was about $15 also. Just remember, before you get carried away and thinking like, oh, this is an expensive dish, you have these for a year. They'll stay in your fridge. So we have 1 teaspoon of that one. And then the last one is smoked paprika, 2 teaspoons of smoked. This is all the ingredients for the chicken paprikash, but we're also going to do one of the most amazing things for this dish are the dumplings. I have 4 cups of flour. This is just all-purpose flour. I have 6 eggs. I have 4 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 cup of water. Now, this isn't exact. I made this twice in the last 2 weeks. So I always make these recipes for you in advance. I perfect them before I put them out for you. I followed a couple recipes that were for supposedly authentic paprikash with the dumplings. They didn't put baking powder in it. They were very, very hard. And a lot of the comments I was reading were saying the same thing. So today we're gonna use baking powder. It's gonna make them a little lighter, or I think it's gonna be better that way. We'll find out at the end what the taste testers think. But let's sear the chicken right now. All right, so we got chicken here. I have the 4 pounds. I just wanna show you a little bit first about cleaning up chicken thighs, because whenever you buy chicken thighs in the store, no matter really what brand you buy, they're always gonna leave the excess skin here because they can sell you more weight. For your perspective, to make it better, you need to remove that so you only have this much. All right, just so it'll just be too much skin, too much fat and overhanging skin you don't want. When a recipe tells you to clean up the chicken, trim the thighs, this is exactly what they mean. Legs, you don't have to. Some people, for legs, they'll actually remove the skin completely, but I don't think you need to do that. You get to the point when you have that overhang, I do suggest that you get rid of it. We're gonna season these up and we're gonna get our cast iron pan out. Okay, I got a big cast iron pan here, not quite 14, it's like a 13. I have a larger stainless steel, anything like that will work really well for this. You could also use a Dutch oven. It just will probably take you like 3 or 4 batches to sear all your chicken. I'm gonna heat this up to about just a touch below medium. This burner's too small for this pan. That's correct. It is too small for this pan, but I'm cooking in front of you here. If you have a regular stove, you're gonna have a larger heating element, which is going to allow you to get more even cooking here, but we'll be okay still. This is gonna take 2 batches for this size pan. Again, you might have a different experience, the size pan you use. This chicken There's no salt and pepper on it, but it's already wet again, even though I dried it off. So just dry it off again, okay? You wanna get this really dry because you'll be able to get a nicer sear on your chicken. All right, so salt and pepper on both sides. We can season fairly heavily with salt and pepper here because I am using stock that has no salt in it. This is a seasoned pan, but I am gonna add a couple tablespoons. I have vegetable oil here. I'm gonna use that. If you have lard, that's preferred. This is a movable island. It's kind of like tilting that way, so the oil always ends up in the pan over here. So what I do every so often is I just tip it back so it goes over there. Okay, so it's been about 4 minutes. All right, so it's like this. Probably get it a little bit better than that. I'm just gonna let them keep going, and I'm gonna tip my oil again. If you look at a lot of these recipes, traditional recipes for this dish, they don't even fry it at all. You do your onions, paprika, and then the chicken, and then it all just braises together. But I always feel like by searing it, even for a little bit, you get a little bit more flavor in the pan to do your onions. All right, so there's a couple more minutes. I pushed them better. Let's see now. All right, those are looking nice now. All right, go back over with it. Oh yeah, that's a real good one. That's a good one. We'll let these go for a couple more minutes on that non-skin side, and then we will put them in here. The other batch of chicken, I didn't salt and pepper yet. Water's all gonna wick to the top, so right when you pull these off, dry that chicken again, salt and pepper it, do your second batch. Okay, one batch done, took about 10 or 11 minutes, nice and brown. About 10 minutes on that one too. These chicken legs, you could try to stand up and move all around to get perfect color, but good enough. Our thighs are good again, really good. This chicken can just be put off to the side. You can tent it with foil. It's all gonna braise for a long time. This is a rustic dish. If you like it, the onion's a little bigger, a little larger piece, better texture, keep them larger. If you want them to really go to almost nothing, you could even puree these after we cook them, make them small. If for some reason you don't have enough fat here, add a couple more tablespoons, put olive oil, and I'm gonna take a little pinch of salt here just to get the water out of these onions quicker. Okay, kind of use your flat edge of your spoon here, and you can just scrape up the bottom. Okay, so this has been about 10 minutes on those onions. If you want to let them go longer, feel free to. I've been on medium heat the whole time here. Same heat that I had when I seared the chicken, which is totally fine. You don't want to go too high, you don't want to burn anything. Here's 5 cloves of garlic, maybe more like 6. Whatever type of day it is. Is it a 5-clove day, 6-clove, 15 cloves? A dish like this, you put in 15 cloves, it's not gonna make it bad. It's not. And I'm just gonna cook that in there for like 20 seconds. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lower my heat to basically off almost, or like a 2. Really, really low, and let it cook for about 30 seconds until the garlic gets really fragrant. So I'm just mixing it into the onions really quickly, very low heat, okay? You don't wanna burn this. Basically, you want to get it in all of the oil, all of the fat. Then you can just add your ½ a cup of dry white wine. And then just with your flat edge of your wooden spoon, you can just start scraping up anything here. I'm going to turn my heat up to high. So because now that we have the added wine in here, we're not going to burn anything, but this is going to evaporate in a matter of 30 seconds. 2 cups of homemade chicken stock. Bring this up. I have my heat on high. Let's bring it up. Okay, so this has been boiling for about a minute. Just let it boil for a couple minutes. Use that flat edge of the spoon and just dislodge any of your brown bits. Nice and smooth the bottom of the pan. That's what you want. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna lower this to a simmer. I do think this recipe would be better with tomato paste. You would have put your tomato paste with the onions and garlic, but again, I'm trying to keep this really to the authentic way. And we've already had it twice like this. See all the juices in the pan here? Make sure you put them in too. Okay, pour that in. Get a little bit of sauce on top here. Your skin is not going to be crispy at the end of this braising process. It's a little too high right now. I just want to keep it very low simmer. Okay, if you don't have a 14-inch lid like I do, you can use foil. We want to braise this and retain the majority of the liquid. We're going to braise this for 45 to 60 minutes until the chicken gets full apart tender. I'm going to move it over to my other burner so we can make the dumplings now. The timing's pretty good here, but the dumplings, even if they get cold, they're fine. They can just sit and then just heat them up for a second in the hot sauce. Very, very simple to do. This is 4 cups of all-purpose flour that I have here. This is 4 teaspoons of baking powder. 6 eggs that I just put into a separate thing. You know, just in case like you have a bad egg. I'm just gonna beat them up a little bit first. Get the egg in. 1 teaspoon of regular salt, not kosher salt. So just fine sea salt or table salt, whatever. And that's the 1 cup of water. If this is too loose, we'll just add more flour to it. If for some reason it's too dry, we can just put a little bit of water in there. Basically, you just need like a workable kind of wet dough for your dumplings. Got to get all the flour off the sides. I like to use one of these like little spatula things. I think this might be good. A good pinch of salt here. About a tablespoon of kosher salt. Just grab one and just push, okay? Basically, every 2, dip them back in like that, and then just go like this, and then they'll pop off really easily. Some will be bigger than others. So what I like to do is let them come up in here and then let them cook for another 4 or 5 minutes. What you can do is on your first batch, or you could just do 1 initially, just taste it, and then you'll know the timing. Probably about 2 or 3 batches it will take you. I just have a pasta spider here. I'm just gonna drain them. I have another thing here, and I'll just have it on top of my little sheet here. Just for you right now. I mean, I wouldn't cook this way if I was, you know, doing this for my family. I'd be on the stove and all that. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm just gonna clear this pot of all my little remnants, all that, and start another batch. It's gonna take me probably another 2 batches. I'm just letting it run under the colander for a minute because we got another 40 minutes before, just so they don't stick, and I'll spread them apart. Okay, so here's those dumplings. Just got a little cover over them, keep them like lightly warm, but it doesn't matter. This sauce is gonna make them hot anyway. If you don't wanna go the dumpling route, you can do egg noodles, which a lot of recipes, especially American recipes, will do instead. That's after 55 minutes. So let's just check our chicken, see if it's tender. I want it to be like close to falling apart, but not falling apart. Yeah, it's good. All right, so I've got my heat pretty low here, like a 3 out of 10. I'm gonna remove all this chicken now to a plate, whatever, I got a tray. You just wanna remove it temporarily so we can finish that sauce. Okay, so this chicken right here, just put it off to the side. So what I have here is sour cream. This has been out for an hour or longer since we started this recipe. Some recipes will say to take it out so you can mix it right in, but it will probably break. The better way to do this is just to temper it. So we got a bowl, and this is 1 cup of sour cream. And you can put more on at the end when you're serving it too, so. This is 2 tablespoons of flour. Now mix this in here really well. This is a traditional Hungarian finishing technique.
So if somebody didn't want the flour, like if they're gluten-free,
yeah,
could you do cornstarch?
Yeah, I think you could, definitely. This is very thin right now, so we want to be able to thicken it. So I have a whisk too. Honestly, I saw some recipes they use like a power whisker here. I don't want, when I do this, I don't want the lumps to go back in here. I'm gonna do a little bit of this at a time so I don't end up breaking this. If I poured like a cup in here, it would change the temperature too much. What I'm doing is tempering. So I'm gonna mix this around. Okay, and then we'll do more. This temperature will increase. The last time, so I did it 2 times, had some clumps. If you do get clumps, you can just strain again through a power strainer and then just take the whisk on top and push it through. If we have to do it, we will. Okay, I'm like putting a little bit more in each time. Okay, so let's get it in here. So I'm gonna whisk really well to try to avoid those clumps of flour. That's why I whisked the heck out of it over there already. All right, so we wanna bring this up to a simmer. Okay, so this is looking good. It didn't break, it just came together. Now it's simmering. Now let's season it up. Big pinch of salt. It's about a teaspoon I put in. That's a teaspoon of Diamond Kosher. Nice, good amount of pepper. Do a little whisk again. Listen, if this isn't thick enough for your liking here, all you have to do is just go through the flour process again. You can put it in your bowl, take some of the sauce, maybe a little bit more sour cream, mix it, put it back in. But as this bubbles, the flour is gonna hydrate and then it's gonna thicken. Here's the beautiful chicken. Let's get this all back in here. pour all that juice back in. A little sauce on top. Gonna turn it down even more to about a 3 out of 10. Let's just let it simmer for about 10 minutes. Spoon the sauce over so often, and we'll serve it up for the taste tester. And there's plenty of more sauce here if you want to dip in.
Well, the chicken is cooked perfectly.
Finish with parsley also, I forgot to say that. I'm not sure about the dumplings still. They seem just as hard as last time, even with the baking powder addition and more eggs. If you're an expert on these dumplings, please let us know. These are more eggy though, for sure. They have a lot, and I put more salt in them. I think they taste good, but they're hard.
I don't think they're that hard. I think this is really, really good. I mean, I know you've made this a few times. I think this is better than the last time that you made it.
I do too. Why do you think that is? I used homemade stock this time. The other time I used the better than bouillon.
That could be why. So this is the same paprika. Okay.
Yep.
I think this is incredible. I love paprika, so I really enjoy the flavor of this. I can definitely taste the sour cream, which I think if you like it to be even more sour, you could even add more.
Yeah, and people do. They put dollops of it on. If you want to do a whole chicken, I would save your chicken breast pieces for like the last 20 minutes. Let everything, the dark meat, braise the whole time, and then add your chicken, your seared off chicken breasts for the last like 15, 20 minutes. I would recommend you do that for any type of dish where you're breaking down a chicken and you're going to braise.
I think this is great. So again, I'm using the beef bourguignon as the benchmark for everything.
Beef bourguignon is considered the best recipe
For me.
by Tara and actually by people who watch this channel. It's been just crazy. Everybody just loves that one. So this is going up against the beef bourguignon.
So if I'm gonna put this up against that, that's a 10 and perfect. I will give this a 9. I don't think it could get much better, yet it's not the beef bourguignon.
Tear it apart. If you're from Hungary, tear it apart.
Yeah, let us know.
A lot of people let us know in the goulash, which I'm still making amends for that one.
Yeah, I really do think that the official taste tester would love this though. But he's at basketball.
We'll see you next time.